Frankfurt, a club whose last taste of glory came back in 2022, lifting the Europa League, but that was then. Today we're rebuilding this side from the ground up inside Football Manager, with one goal: turn Frankfurt into not just a German powerhouse team, but one of Europe's elite. And we're doing it with my brand new 4-3-3 tactic, built for free-flowing attacking dominance. But here's the twist: we've capped ourselves at just 5 years. No restarts, no safety nets. Whatever happens in that window is the legacy we leave on this club. If you want to dive deeper, the save file, the tactic, all of my tactics and save files, they are available up on the Patreon alongside of every video you watch of mine, completely ad-free. Today we focus on Frankfurt. Who's next? Oh, today we're going to start things off by going with the outgoing players, because it is a key reason to why I've actually decided to rebuild Frankfurt over any other German team. Now, what I will say is this is a massive loss. He is one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, let's see what they're like without him. Now, Hugo Ekitike has been brilliant for Liverpool so far, in my opinion, and despite a pretty big price tag of 95 million euros, I think you pay for what you get at the end of the day, and there is a bit of a, I like to say, a striker shortage almost in real life of promising good young strikers. I mean, you had the likes of Gyökeres, Sesko, they were already taken, and obviously Liverpool favour someone like Hugo anyway. Now, he is going to be a big player to lose. What I will say is, I won't spoil it in case you don't know, we have got some players coming in as well, and we have got a striker that has come in. Is he as good as Hugo? I'll let you decide, but yeah, pretty interesting. But losing a player like Hugo Ekitike is never nice. He's young, he would have been great for 5 years. I think he could have won me trophies, and to lose him, he's one player to replace. Next up is going to be the loss of Tuta, who is going to be a centre-back, and again, a really good centre-back in my opinion. Very good for this league anyway, and he is actually going to get a move to, I believe, the Qatar League. So, probably for the money, if we're being honest, but what I will say is, in this Frankfurt team, especially in the game, I can't talk about him in real life, because to be honest, I've got limited knowledge on him, but in this game, he would have been really, really good, because he's pretty much all that you need for the Bundesliga, and we could have worked with him for a few years and then probably upgraded him. So a player that I probably wouldn't have chose to sell, to be honest with you. I much rather would have had him, so I at least got him for a few seasons. So I'm going to lose Paxton Aronson. He is going to go to the MLS League, which is quite early for, I mean, he is American to be fair, isn't he? So I guess it makes sense. But again, a player that looks pretty decent, to be honest. I'm just saying this based off Frankfurt's level. Obviously we are a team that aren't, you know, we're looking to win stuff, but it's not guaranteed to come in the first season or two. We're really targeting to become that team by season 3, so we can have 3 years of utter German and European dominance. But he is a player that I probably could have made use of, but definitely does not hurt as much as obviously losing Hugo Ekitike, who is a big player to lose. So I'm going to wave goodbye to Davis. Now, he is again a centre-back that I probably can say goodbye to. He's simply not really good enough to play for a club like Frankfurt, and despite being the age of 20, his potential is nowhere near what I'd expect to see. So, no love lost there. Kevin Trapp, a goalkeeper that is a bit of a FIFA legend in my eyes. Of course, former PSG man, was at Frankfurt, then to PSG, then back to Frankfurt. He now goes to the French League and plays for Paris FC. Not too much hate for this outgoing, he's 34 years of age. A player that is going to have a move to the Belgian League, actually, is going to be Ali Akman. Again, a player who, to be honest, doesn't look awful. Definitely could have maybe served as a backup striker, or very low cut performance striker. But to be honest with you, we have signed a couple of players, or the club has, so I don't really think he's going to be missed too much. We also are going to wave goodbye to Igor, so a lot of players are going to be leaving who are strikers. Now, it's okay, because like I said, they have managed to replace a few of them, but talk about having an offload, right? You offload so many players in one window, and yeah, I mean, obviously the big one, the standout one, I'm not going to say his name again, I feel like I've said that name so many times, is the new Liverpool man. He's the big one, but actually, if you look at the grand scheme of things, there's several pieces they've lost, as we are going to replace Hugo Ekitike with actually a really good striker, in my opinion, in Jonathan Burkhardt. I think I said that right. He is a player coming in from Mainz. In real life, the fee was 21 million euros, so a bit of a saving compared to what they profited from Hugo. And if this player works, they've replaced him really well. Now, in this team, in this tactic especially, I think I will extract the most out of him. He looks like a super player, really rapid, great finishing, or decent finishing. Let me calm down. Decent finishing, decent composure. He's pretty much the opposite of Hugo Ekitike. He is more quick, more sort of nippy, more in behind sort of vibe, whereas Hugo's more of a well-built sort of player. So a very different vibe, but yeah, at least they found somewhat of a replacement. Also pick up Batshuayi, who was the other striker I was hinting about. Of course, he has played for so many clubs, it is crazy. He has played for so many clubs. Now, he comes in, and I can tell you something, he's obviously going to be a bit of a backup striker. Now, they did need someone like this because they offloaded so many forward-thinking players. So to get him in, it's not a bad option. He will chip in occasionally with a goal or two. Is he going to be a long-term plan? Of course he isn't. But for a season or two, I'm actually not dead against it. Of course I can't complain anyway, because what I get is what I use. But would I have gone out and signed him specifically? Probably not. Would I have signed someone along the lines of him? I'm not going to say no. Super signing from Rennes is going to be Arthur Theater. He was FM's dream centre-back at one point. Don't know what happened, to be honest. He was a really good centre-back. I don't really know if he's not been playing that well in real life. I don't really see him being compared anymore to your Diamandes or your Inacios. It was once all about this guy, and he is a really good signing. Of course, coming in from Rennes, former Bologna man, started off in Belgium, and he's still quite young at 25. Good pace, good anticipation, good heading, decent tackling, decent passing, very good for our team, and replaces one of the centre-backs we sold. So I'm honestly all for this. We also are going to pick up a very good right-back. So defensively, I think they've signed some really good players. Rasmus Christiansen is not a bad right-back. Is he the quickest? No. Can he cross the ball? You bet he can. 15 crossing, really good. Now, of course, that's super important for our tactic. And when you look at right-backs that would take a move to Frankfurt, I think this is probably the best you're going to get, so I'm all ears. Benkoshi is going to come in as well, and he is going to be 28 years of age, so a little bit older, but he does bring a certain element of experience. Now, the reason why I'm not dead against him, whereas a lot of people might think Josh is 28, he's a little bit slow, you are right, but he has obviously played in Germany for quite a fair few years. Freiburg are maybe a little bit below us, but in terms of, you know, similar reputation sides, they'd be just with us, and he'd done a decent job for them. So after a bit of experience in England, toughening up a little bit, I actually think is quite a good signing. Also very good for registration, so a couple of positives. Also going to welcome in a Benjamin Kirchhoff. He will be very much a backup player, a player that I think might be getting sold at some point, because I doubt we're going to use him too much. And the big one is going to be Ritsu Doan, coming in from Freiburg. I think this is a really exciting signing, hence why he's on the thumbnail. Now, I hope he is going to be as good in the game as what I'm expecting, because when you look at it, you might think, Josh, what are you actually expecting? He looks quite average, and I will say he is averagely balanced, but when you have an all-round balanced player, they typically do quite well. You factor in he's also played in the Bundesliga before, you factor in he can play in 3 different positions, so he should be getting a lot of game time. I think he will actually be a really good player, and for the first few seasons, he will definitely be a key part of this team. Now, as a club, because we have done the transfers first, as that finalises everything, as a club, you would have had an extra 14 million to go and spend. You've got a club here with very minuscule debt, and you've got a team with actually a little bit to boast about. You've got 4-star training, 3.5-star reputation, 3.5-star youth recruitment facilities. Sorry, the youth recruitment is not as promising, that has to be said. But also, I have seen a lot worse. The finances are secure, the owners are enjoying life at the club, and they're a club that have won stuff, you know, not loads, but you remember that Europa League from a few years ago, the Bundesliga title, the 5 Pokals, the 1 Bundesliga 2, and the 1 Verbandspokal Hessen? I think I've said that right. They are a team that just need that little boost up to really become the real big team, and we are using my cheat code 433, which is my latest 433 creation that is very reliant on good fullbacks, so we need to make sure we've got them. I'm semi-confident in Christiansen. As for the left back, a bit of work might be needed, and again, at any part of this video, you want to grab this tactic and the rebuild file and all of these cool perks. Make sure you go on over and check out the Patreon, because there's is 30% off, and we're pushing in on 6,200 members. And when FM26 drops, there's 5 new perks coming that have been kept a big secret. Now, what I will say is, looking at this team on paper, we've got players. We've got a good striker, a very good right wing. We've also got a decent left wing who's not traditionally designed to play there in Fares Chibibi, of course, the former French league man. I do believe he'll do a decent job. He's not the quickest, but he's quite technically gifted, and I think for a season or two he can get the job done. If you would have noticed, holds a significantly high value, and actually a lot of our players do. Even 14 to 15 million's quite high. Our striker 11 to 13. You know, you go into the midfield, you've got some real top talent. You've got the likes of Larson, ridiculously talented player, Hugo Larson, worth £80 million. So even if some of these players don't work, I will definitely be open to listen to clubs. Do not forget, this is not a realism rebuild. We can sign and sell whoever we want. No holdbacks, no sort of tiebacks. We can go out and sign who we want, which is a bit of a relief. Can Uzun, another player that I've used a lot and signed a lot, coming in from Nuremberg. He's a player that has got loads of potential. As long as he develops well and plays well, he will 100% be in the team. And even when you look at the new man who we brought in, who's actually going to slot in as an anchor, he can do that quite well. So I look at this team on paper. I think there are weaknesses. The goalkeepers, I'd say, are a bit of a weakness. The left back, maybe some better rotation players would be quite nice. But looking at the league table and what I can expect, we are predicted to finish in 6th place or 5th place. I did say 6th, didn't it? But 5th place. I think that that's quite fair. I do believe that it's a possibility we can get in the top 4 in season 1, but it would not surprise me if we don't. So I'm going to keep it humble and say a top 6 finish is definitely on the cards. As for the Champions League, 0 expectation in season 1, and the Pokal little semi-final would be quite nice. So I do think that this team has got a bit about it. So let's go see if I'm right or wrong. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, any Frankfurt fans, let me know in the comments. Well, it's quite funny because we do get to the semis of the Pokal, exactly what I was after, and we don't beat Bayern. If we were going to beat Bayern, we could have actually been facing up against Dortmund. So who went on to actually win that? And we don't know. It's between Bayern and Dortmund, though. A very, very, very stacked final. We are going to get past Hoffenheim 1-0, and when it comes to the 3rd round, we are going to absolutely, well, not really batter, but we're going to beat a team who actually find themselves in the Bundesliga too. So a bit of an easier sort of way to the semi-finals, where it does sort of come across that as soon as we play a top team, we lose, and it's only a 1-0 loss, so we're not going to be too annoyed about it. We've still got a lot of building to do. For the Champions League, I'm not disappointed at all. We are going to go out in the quarterfinals. We're playing a team like Chelsea, who have got a lot of top players. Now, the round of 16, we actually get past Man City, so we are proven we can already go somewhat toe-to-toe against the best teams in Europe occasionally, not consistently, and that's a very, very, very big difference. When it comes to the actual group stages, though, we can go and see what we achieved. We finished in 2nd place, which is quite good. Do you know what? We had a really tough group here. Real Madrid, Newcastle and Juventus. Now, we are going to draw a game here against Newcastle. We lose 2, both of them against Madrid, to be expected. Meaning we actually, well, we battered Juventus, to be honest, and we beat Newcastle. So we actually done relatively well there. That is probably one of the hardest groups for a team like Frankfurt. And to make it sweeter, we win the Bundesliga in season 1, which was not on the bingo cards. Now, I will say a lot of it is going to come down to this man, their new striker, who played 32 games and nearly scored a goal every single game. And that is one way to replace their star man up front. Oscar Huijland is going to be our top best performer, one of our midfield players, 21 years of age. He comes in, very, very good performance, to be honest, the former man from Denmark, and just really impresses me. So super happy to have him around at the club. Our goalkeeper, also going to be nearly the top most clean sheets. Our goalkeepers aren't necessarily bad. They're both just sort of, I can't quite pinpoint if they're going to win me a Champions League. They're a little bit on the older side, so goalkeeper's an interesting debate with me at the moment. Now, when I look at this season, for season 1, I can be quite proud. Bundesliga winners, 25 wins, 6 draws, only 3 losses. Those coming in against not Dortmund or Bayern, which is really, really impressive to see. It's not an embarrassment in the Champions League. I'd argue it's quite good in the Pokal. Our board expectations to quarterfinals. we definitely outclass that. And obviously the expectation for the Bundesliga was qualify for the Europa League. We've won the league in season 1, which does return us a budget of £90 million. Debts and loans have definitely come down quite a fair bit, and we can look at this team now and really see what worked, maybe what needs replacing. What doesn't need replacing is our new striker, because 34 goals in his first season. Now, he is wanted already by PSG, Bayer Leverkusen and Leipzig, so loyalty is going to be at the ultimate test for him in this upcoming season. What I will say is one thing that I've noticed, apart from Chibibi on the left-hand side, at the moment it is actually going to be Goetze who plays there. He must be getting on a little bit now. He's 33, a player that would have been so good without the injuries. He has a good season though, 8 and 9. Doan 8 and 8, Larson 9 and 5. Chibibi actually plays in that CM role, 14 and 13. Now, apart from Chibibi and also the striker, we've not got one other player scoring 10 plus goals, which is a bit of an interesting thing, because usually I don't win league titles unless I've got a batch of players scoring. So this tells me that our backline must have been quite good. We are, yeah, we're the best at defending, the second best at scoring. So actually defensively is where we stood out. So maybe our left back is actually a lot better than what I thought. He's not bad, but he's also definitely not great. For the rest of our backline, congratulations. They obviously had a very, very, very good season. I mean, you can't really question it. And looking into the next season, I think that'll be a bit where my money goes, is into that sort of attack, to be honest, to try and get a few more goals out of people. You know, the likes of Goetze, very good player, but he is getting older. You know, if you look at some of the other strikers we've got Wahi, didn't even talk about this guy in the intro, seriously good player. At the moment, he's playing second fiddle, so we'll see what happens with him, because he's not really getting into the team. Of course, you've got Bashwai, who is, did he actually play a game? He played 2 games, so what you probably expect from him. And yeah, you've got a load of other players, so if anything, too many strikers, to be honest. We've got a couple of the lone players coming back. Super excited to get this guy back, because he looks like an absolute machine and did enjoy a great season at Brest. 4 goals and 12 assists, so pretty decent, to be honest, in the French league. And Nkunku coming back, the left back, who looks brilliant, looks really, really good. So very happy to have him back. In fact, get him into the team now, he looks that good. So let's get into season 2 of the transfers after a very decent season, guys. I mean, if you look at the amount of green in here, it's absolutely brilliant. We had a bit of a rough spell in September with a 3-1 loss against Leipzig, a loss there against Madrid, which is to be expected. Hoffenheim maybe not to be expected, but we bounced back and we hold that for most of the season, apart from a little ropey season or month in April. Overall, I think we've got a lot to be impressed with, so let's get into season 2. As we are going to spend 36 million on Lucien. He's going to come in from Sevilla for, like I said, a pretty big price tag. 8 goals, 8 assists, drops a 7.22. Now, he's actually a midfield player, and I've signed him because we have got a good range of midfield players, but we still need a bit more depth in that area. And when he was available, I thought, do you know what? I've never signed him. He's got great passing, he's got great fitness, good stamina. I like a player with good stamina in midfield especially. He can play anywhere in that midfield. He's super obtainable. He was interested in joining. 10 pros compared to 2 cons. And his value, like I said, we spent 36 million. He's worth upwards of 50 now, so he's a player that I think will step in, get the job done, and only add positives to the team. As the same can be said with Ansu Fati, he is a player that, you know, gets rejected a lot in real life, it seems. Obviously, he's got a chance here at Monaco in real life, but we're going to pick him up for 30 million, and he chips in with 17 goal contributions. Now, he is like a João Pedro, in my opinion, in terms of versatility. He can play on the left, up front, in the right, also centrally, not as good, but he can do it. His downside is being injury prone, but he stayed fit this season, which is really, really good to see. And as long as you're training him right, you've got good staff there to recover him, you're going to be completely fine. And I'm going to say it, I think we got a bit of a bargain here, because he's worth a lot more than what we paid for him. He's got good pace, good agility, he's got decent sort of finishing and composure, good dribbling, the crossing's pretty average, as is the passing, but he is a good attacking player, and at Frankfurt, you can only dream of having him in your team, so I'm going to take that any day. An elite winger who's still only 24. And the last signing is going to be Carlos Dominguez from Celta Vigo for £17 million total. Didn't play as many games, only 11, and drops a 6.82, but it's just to add another player into the centre-back pool that we've got. And he's a player that's definitely not perfect, let me tell you that. He's not perfect, but he was a player that I sort of spent my remaining budget on, and I thought, you know what? We are now playing, obviously, at a very high level. We've already won the Bundesliga. Therefore, there's an expectation that if we don't win it again next season, we at least get close to winning it. And I need a big squad. And I think with these 3 additions, and only one outgoing here of a player that simply does not play, and he's 37, it makes complete sense to make it happen. So, welcome into Lucien, Ansu, and Carlos. Hopefully, we can have, if not the same season, a bit of a better one. Well, I am super happy to say we have claimed back-to-back Bundesliga titles. Now, this was where the pressure was at, because firstly, we can't see it in there yet, but it's very nice to see we have done that, because there was a lot of pressure on this, because when you win it in your first season, it's brilliant, but then you're expected to do it again. And we have done it again, and now I guess that expectation just carries on through. Now what we are seeing is our goal scorer again being Jonathan, a very, very good second season, actually replicating the goals in less games and picking up 6 assists. So a much better season in less games played. I imagine there could have been a bit of an injury in there. Ritsu Doan, the second top assister, Christiansen, the 4th top, goalkeeper, 3rd most clean sheet. So we really are getting in there. The best player in the league is going to be our star striker, and the 4th best is going to be the right back that I was excited in signing from Leeds, who has been absolutely splendid since we've had him, actually improving by 0.15. So a very, very, very good improvement over a whole season. And I think we can be proud of this now. You know, back-to-back Bundesliga titles is not easy unless you're playing as sort of a Bayern, a Dortmund, a Leipzig, those sorts of teams. Frankfurt are not perfect, but the way we're playing football, you'd think they are. We actually improved massively in the Pokal. We are going to find ourselves in a final against Leverkusen. Now, Leverkusen have a bit of a scary reputation. They used to when they had Xabi Alonso. That's going to be a great way to start the game there. But this is a bit of the old Leverkusen, the Leverkusen that can attack, the Leverkusen that can score goals. And Ben Seguir, a fantastic player, is going to go through. And a little bit of luck there because our goalkeeper practically gifted the goal to him. They're going to make it 1-1. But then we get our own bit of luck with Kovar trying to play out from the back. It's an awful bit of play. Ansu Fati just taps it in, and it's going to be a simple recovery back to 2-1, and their heads completely dropped, and we go on to win this Pokal, meaning already we have 2 trophies to our name in this season alone, and it's going to be a 3-1 win. That's a bit of luck though, we'll take it. We also look to improve in the Champions League, and we do. We are going to get to the semi-finals and only lose by 1 goal where we would have played Bayern, the ultimate German final. Now let's see how we done in the league phase. We actually done really well. So we are going to beat teams like Borussia Mönchengladbach. We've got experience playing them. We're obviously going to beat Celtic, Atalanta, Rapid, Rangers, Tottenham. We do lose 2 games against 2 very respectable opponents, okay? They finished 1st and 2nd, so we can be quite humble with that. Now, the round of 16, we played Shakhtar and beat them 7-1. The quarterfinals, we beat City again. So we've got City's number. So if we do get to a UCL final, please make it against Man City, because we can beat them every single time, as it seems. Now, when it comes to the German Super Cup, we are going to be playing Borussia Dortmund, and I can tell you something, not an easy opposition, but it is when you got Theater from a set piece. At this part of the game, they were already down to 10 men, and they completely crumbled. This is only in 25 minutes. Another mistake, and Ansu Fati's got a couple of gifted goals this season, but I don't think he's going to care, and if he doesn't care, I don't care, because as long as the goals are going in, I'm not fussed how they go in. Goetze there, a good give and go. Back to Nkunku, the left back that was on loan last season, plays a big part in Goetze's goal to make it 3 in 73, and we're going to go and win this game, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4-0, and again, it's that intense press. They simply cannot hack it, and this goal is deserved from Ansu Fati. And that completes a perfect season, almost a perfect season. The Champions League would have made it perfect, but the German treble is really, really good to achieve in Season 2, and luckily for us, we don't actually have much expectation as it stands. So, for example, qualify for the Europa League is still the aim. We've won it twice. Reach the quarterfinals. We've, won it now. The German Super Cup is just don't be outclassed, which is a bit of an insulting expectation. The Champions League is be competitive, which I think's around about the round of 16, around that sort of expectation. So we're pretty chilled, to be honest. We're Sitting back, we're chilling at Frankfurt, we're having a great time. Now, what I will say is, in terms of money, we are going to have a bit of a less budget with £45 million. The debts and loans are looking very, very good. We're keeping that really within our reach. And the team on paper, well, they're absolutely flying. This is a team that nearly won a quadruple. And without throwing any shade at some of these players, you wouldn't necessarily picture this team with that put to them. But this is what we can do with my set pieces, my tactics. We can really have a great time, and it's not even that overpowered, the tactic in the game. What happens is, when a game's been out for close to 2 years, you know what works and what doesn't work, and having these attacking fullbacks who are now really proven what they can do, with 16 goal contributions from right back, with 18 from left back, 8 goals from Robin Koch, we've got Fiata there with 5. I don't actually know how to say his name, by the way, but it just gets demonetized, so I'm not going to say it. I know how to say his name, I'm just saying it differently to be, you know, YouTube friendly. Midfield is really impressing me here. I mean, you look at the likes of Larson, 8 and 12. You've got a Gomez there, 14 and 12. Really strong. Doan on the right-hand side, 29 goal contributions. Fatty with 29. Our striker with 46. Goetze with 12, who is, I'll say it, somewhat of a footballing legend. Without the injuries, man, without the injuries, it would have been everything. Shabibi a bit of a quieter season, probably because Fatty's in the team, but realistically, a very strong performance, and I'll make sure that is our best 11. It is our best 11, so our only player that is wanted who is classed as our best 11 player is the striker, now wanted by Chelsea and Bayern. I'm sure he will have a bit of thinking to do. Hopefully he thinks in the right areas. Alongside of that, we've just got a few players asking to leave, and to be honest, I'm looking at the names going down here, and a lot of them, I'll pack the bags for them. So, yeah, expect a bit of change in Season 3. I'm going to cash in on Mario Götze because he is 35, and I just think he's got to go on the free at the end of next season anyway, and we've got what we can out of him. We've won a German treble, 2 Bundesliga titles, and what a legacy he's going to leave as he finishes his career at HSV, who is still in the Bundesliga, and he has a decent season. Now, this is a player that I've always liked. It's just a shame he was so injury prone, and there's been lots of players like that, so it's always a shame to see, but I think he'll always be remembered as a German player. On the free, we're going to welcome in Harvey Elliott, a player that I've definitely tinkered around with a lot this year, but not seen him do this well. 14 and 9 in his first season. Now, we didn't spend a penny on him. He's worth between 60 to 70 million. He's versatile, can play on the left, on the right, centrally as well, and still only 25. So I was very mistaken about this guy, because I thought he was 27, 28, right at the start of this game. I don't know why I thought that, but he's actually a lot younger than what people think. He's still got a very good career ahead of him, and with these sorts of stats, he's going back into the England team. So a very good season, a player that I couldn't really resist, but especially when he's on the free, you've got to pick him up, right? So this player, when he's available, I'd get him. If I was you, get him. As we also are going to pick up Jivaro Reed, coming in from Feyenoord. Now, this player was signed for a couple of reasons. One, we needed a new right back, but also he can play left back. He's 21, so tons of years in him. For you guys carrying the save file back home, absolutely perfect. And for me, for the next 3 years, he'll also do a very good job. Now, the good thing about him is he has got very high attributes in the areas you would want a wing back to have. For example, your acceleration, your pace, your crossing, your tackling, but alongside of that, he's also got other things such as good decision making. He's got a very good first touch. He's got very good passing, good marking, all at the age of 21, and he comes in for 23 million and picks up 15 assists, which for his first season is actually a really good return. Of course, a player that's never stepped foot in Germany before, let alone at Frankfurt, and yeah, really impressed. Now, he had a couple of good seasons at Feyenoord back-to-back, which definitely did influence my decision to get him, and for 23 million, I think he's a fantastic player, and he's in fact the only player we signed alongside a Harvey Elliott. We loaned out a few players here to try and get a bit of game time in them. Actually, all of them go into German leagues, which I try and do. If I'm trying to loan out a player, I'll send them to the same league I'm in, or same country. They could have gone to the Bundesliga 2, Bundesliga 3, but as long as they're playing in the same country, I like that because it keeps them familiar with the tempo, the pace, the style of the league, and that's where all of those have gone. So I think a very good window. Not the most exciting, a free transfer and a wing back, but I think that might make all the difference. And it is going to be another great display in the Champions League, as we are not even going to need to play in a knockout playoff round. So the league phase, we are going to win with 6 wins, some big teams being beaten in there, a draw as well against Villa, and only 1 loss against Real Madrid, which was a little bit of a battering, but Real Madrid struggle. They're actually all the way down in 16th here, which is some surprise for Real Madrid. Now, what I will say is I can tell we might have done okay, because Ritsu Doan is going to be your second top goal scorer, tied with Lamine Yamal and Guirassy. Only Isaac outscores those players. Now, the round of 16, we get past Napoli in 5-2 fashion. The quarterfinals, Chelsea, we blitz 5-1. The semi-finals, 3-0 over PSG, meaning we play Barcelona in the final, which have got a couple of good things going for them. They've got a world-class team, a world-class manager, a top goal scorer, and a top assister. So it's not going to be an easy final. I much would have rathered Sevilla. But we are playing at the Camp Nou, which seems a little bit unfair, to be honest, but we are going to go 1-0 up. A great header there from Fiata inside of 58 minutes. That is exactly what I know. And we become a little bit of a set-piece FC here, with a bit of a scrappy goal to go 2-0 up inside of a 3-minute window. So, yeah, things happen quite quickly in the Champions League final, but I'm not really fussed, because as long as we win, I don't care how we win it. Now, they are going to get a consolation goal, but we go on to win the Champions League final, and the goal that they scored, they can't even be proud of. The German Super Cup we are going to win in back-to-back years, this time over Bayern. Last year it was over Dortmund. A comfortable 2-0 wins with goals from Ansu Fati and Lucien, so a pretty comfortable time. A bit of a step back in the DFB Pokal, as we are going to lose to Wolfsburg, so not only a step back literally in terms of winning it to go into the quarterfinals, but also just the oppositions we're playing. You know, a team like Wolfsburg I think we should be beating. Now, in terms of the third round, we get past Nuremberg, a team that we should be beating, and when it comes to the second round, Augsburg. So teams that we definitely should beat, we are going to beat, but I would put Wolfsburg in that category. How have we lost to them? Because we don't in the league. It is going to be a 3rd season of Bundesliga titles, and this time very comfortable, because not only are we only losing 3 games in the league against Leverkusen, Union Berlin and Freiburg, we're getting points out of 31 games, which is a very, very good stat line. And we are seeing a real big twist now. Our new wing-back, top assister, goal scoring wise, Jonathan has not taken his foot off the gas. 28 goals, Harvey Elliott with 14. You've got Agsner, you've got Reed, you've got Jonathan in the average rating. Our goalkeeper, the second most clean sheets at the age of 32, who is now wanted by Alpha Taya. We've got a lot of players performing at their best level, and it's quite handy, because I was expecting this Bundesliga season to be quite challenging, at least for season 1. But at the moment, we have won it 3 years back to back. Runners-up, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Bayern, Bayer Leverkusen. Hopefully we can keep this going, because at the moment we're on to win 5 out of 5. So it's a season we can be proud of. Of course, the Champions League is the real standout. The last time we won the Champions League, we can't even see. Runners up there in 1959. So yeah, record breaking for the club to win that. And what a team to beat in the final as well. So super happy with that. Another treble winning season that includes the Champions League, so probably more important than the German treble. And in terms of money, of course they're going to pay out. We're going to have 69 million to go and spend in season 4, a debt-free club, and a team that is capable of winning a very, very competitive treble. If you want to be picky, probably the only thing that people would say is the better treble would be the Pokal instead of the Super Cup, which is being pretty petty, but I will allow for it. One thing that we can't complain about is wing-back performance. Now, the right-back, who was signed to play right-back, is actually at left-back, which I don't mind, because Christiansen is still doing really well. 3 and 12. 10 goals and 7 from our centre-backs, very competitive. 21 assists for Reed at left-back. Midfield, Harvey Elliott mainly, really carrying the bulk load. Doan 21 and 5. Ansu Fati 16 and 12. Jonathan with 34 and 6. The bench players 3 and 1, 1 and 7, 3, 9 and 5, 2 and 1. 4 and 3, 2 and 2, they're okay. I still think there's a world where we need to improve our rotation players, and we're still in a good window where that can be done in a couple of ways. So I can sign players that are worse than my starting players, i.e. they could be wonder kids that need time, or older players that are just there for the numbers, or we can sign better players and these players can go to the bench. and I look at the team on paper, I think in the anchor role, we definitely could sign someone better. I think for the goalkeeper role, I'm not slating him. He's been a great performer, but maybe a younger goalkeeper. I think some younger centre-backs are definitely needed. And I think apart from that, we are quite secure. So luckily, this has been rebuilt in a very calm manner, where we've been winning trophies, but also using the players we've been given from the transfer window that they had in real life, including Fiata, including Christiansen, including Doan, and including Jonathan, mainly the striker, who has been completely lights out. And in fact, let's go and see how Hugo Ekitike has been getting on. So he's actually moved on from Liverpool. He's now at Atletico Madrid, and he scored 6 goals in his entire Liverpool career. So I think there'll be some regret there for him. As in Season 4, we are going to have a bit of a clear out. The first one is going to be Carlos Dominguez. Now, this is a player that obviously we brought in, you know, pretty early through the doors for 17 million. We take a loss, and it's probably the only signing of this rebuild that we didn't really get right, to be honest. Now, I wasn't expecting to turn a profit on him, but also I wasn't expecting to be as demanding. He wants to be in the team all the time. He can't be in the team all the time. So the best thing to do is offload him. Sadly, we are going to lose, what is that, about 6 million. So it's a bit of a loss on a player. But luckily, we have made big profit on other players, obviously in real life, like Hugo Ekitike. So it gives us a little bit of a window to afford to do this, although it's definitely not something we're proud of. And for 1.4 million, 1.1 million, we are going to sell Buta. He's a player that never really plays, so I mean, we're better off selling him. You can see here we did try and loan him out for a little bit, but he eventually is going to go to Spezia, who are still, to be fair, a very competitive team in the Serie A, and he does quite well for them, to be honest with you, and they're not a great team in the Serie A, so he's done relatively well to drop that average rating, but he was a player for me that just simply would not have got game time, so it makes sense to offload him. 22 million, we are going to take care of the future of this club and sign Tyler Dibbling from Everton. Now, he is a great player, 9 goals, 8 assists, 4 player of the matches, a great average rating, and a player that has obviously played his whole career in England and has hacked it to a very high level. Therefore, bringing him over to Germany, I think he can do. Now, I really like players that are versatile. He can play on the left, on the right, in the middle, up front. He's still only 23. He's worth 90 million. He's very good technically, physically. Mentally, he's a little bit weak in terms of his attributes, but apart from that, he's an absolute dream. And Doan's been nothing but lights out. But he is getting older. I need younger players. And he's not here necessarily to replace him 100%, but we've got to take care of the future, because we don't just want to have a bunch, like, we can't just have old players at the club. We need to prepare for the future. And people like Tyler Dibbling are big parts of that. So are going to sign not a young player, but younger centre-back in Kostas. He is going to come in from Wolfsburg, and he cost us 57 million. That's not a good joke. He comes in from Wolfsburg. So again, signing from the Bundesliga is never cheap. Similar to the Premier League, where you sign from the Premier League, when you sign within the same league, they know how good they are. They're going to want big money. So it is a big amount of money to spend on a centre-back, but he's a big player. Decent pace, very good pace actually, good acceleration, good strength, good stamina, good work rate, good passing, good heading, good tackling. You know, he is pretty much a pre-built centre-back, and the fact he comes from the Bundesliga, you know exactly what you're going to get for your money. So despite spending a fair bob or two at 80 million between the two players, we do profit 13 million, or get 13 million, so it brings it down to about a 67 million pound spend, which is not too bad on a player like Tyler Dibbling, who will come in and be a big player for us in this league, and the backline has been secured quite a fair bit. However, we don't have the same success in the Champions League. We are going to lose to Manchester United. We lose 2-0. They are now being ran still by Ruben Amorim, which is good to see, because usually this game sacks him off. Their team has also improved, I'd argue, so a very good team. And the league phase, we actually dropped down out of the top 8 for the first time since we began this rebuild. Now, we must have got past the knockout rounds. We do against Real Madrid. Real Madrid are really struggling in this save when it comes to the Champions League, which is the one competition you probably wouldn't expect them to do badly in, but they're really struggling, so not ideal for them. UEFA Super Cup, of course, our first chance to win it. We don't win. Apparently Tottenham are just too good on the day, so a little bit gutted to lose that, because it might be our only chance to win it. Knockout final, we are going to be playing a team which are definitely beatable. I mean, we got off to a good start, to be fair. A good goal inside of 27 minutes, but it was definitely not as easy as what I thought, because just before the pretty much the whole end of the game. The 83rd minute, we are going to be seeing Tillman go through, a ball inside, and they tie it up very luckily 1-1. And this game actually gets pushed all the way to extra time, where we get a little bit of our own luck, to be honest. I mean, they were all over us, to be honest, from that goal that they scored. We're going to go through with Larson, a little square across, and yeah, tap sober with the own goal. Not good. The Super Cup, we also claimed 5-1 over Freiburg, meaning it is going to be both German trophies won, but no Bundesliga this season. So for the first time in 4 years, we don't win the Bundesliga title, and it's not going in the hands of Bayern or Dortmund. It is RB Leipzig that win it, now being run by Alexandra Blessing, who is I guess doing quite a good job at RB Leipzig. Now, we're only a handful of points behind. We still have got a lot of players performing well, but the one thing that I've noticed is our goalkeeper is no longer in the clean sheet category. He drops down to 6th place, and that is going to be this man here. 33 years of age. I think it is now finally time he has fallen off a little bit. So I might decide to sell him going into the last season, replace him with someone a little bit younger, who's still somewhat pre-built. We could do almost with like a Trubin, someone like that. But in terms of the goal scorers, this guy's still doing it. Jonathan's still up there, 28 years of age. This season, actually the most goals he's ever scored, scoring more goals than games he's played. So it's not the fact we're not scoring goals, you know, we're also providing a lot of goals for him. By Ansu Fati, Reed as well, a lot of players getting involved, and as a team, we're outscoring everybody in the league. Defensively, we're quite clearly the second favourite, so I think that might be where we need to improve. In fact, it definitely is where we need to improve, and I think a lot of it is based off the goalkeeper. The back line's very good, the right back's good, the left back's good, the centre backs are really strong as well. Maybe the anchor's a bit of an issue. You could question that we need a better protector in front of them, and we are going to have a big budget to go into season 5 of 120 million and zero debt really, so we can go and do it, but we need the right players to do it and sign. Now, the two areas for me are the anchor role and that goalkeeper. The back line for me looks pretty strong. Now, how many good anchors are actually available at this stage of the game? We're going to have to go and see. As for goalkeepers, we should be somewhat okay. If we go and actually look at the scouted players, just at that alone, go to the goalkeepers, go all the way up, you know, this man here from Stuttgart could be a very good shout. £30 million. Definitely an option in my opinion. Also the likes of this man in Rome, Jadon Asabu Adaro. Very, very good player. Mike Penders, decent player. Goalkeeper should not be an issue. As for the anchor, it's going to be pretty interesting. So let's get into season 5, see what we can do. The budget's not going to be the issue. It's actually the players that are available. But as for the front line, they're more than doing their thing. 13 and 10, 14 and 9, 14 and 14, 13 and 15, 40 and 5, Doan 10 and 4, who is still doing his thing, Larson chipping in, Collins from centre-back even chipping in, Wahi chipping in as well, who is now wanted by... Is that a Saudi team? I'm not too sure, but he could be a player we even decide to sell on. Same as Jabibi, he is now, what, 26? Still quite young, actually, but definitely now more of a backup player. There's a lot we can do going into the last window, so don't go anywhere. And there's one outgoing, apart from loan outgoings, is going to be Jessic Nagam. He is going to be going to the German league again selling within our own league, 800k. He's a player that simply just wasn't, in fact, he didn't really play a game for us. So he made sense to sell him. I noticed his contract was coming up. You may as well get something for him. So a player that we just simply, we don't need. For a bit of a lower league team though, I will actually say, looking at the physical stats, he's actually quite good. Now, we looked at him in the scouting tab and we did go and sign him. Dennis is going to come in from Stuttgart for 40 million, so a lot more than what we saw him for. But again, you sign from the Bundesliga, you pay that German tax, and he's a young goalkeeper, probably one of the most sought after goalkeepers in German football. So you are going to pay a big buck for him, and we do. Now, he is already a leading Bundesliga player at the age of 24, so I don't think we've been ripped off. However, 40 million is a big chunk of our budget, and it did somewhat restrict how much we had for the anchor. But we still find a player who can suit the anchor role really well. And the reason why I was so adamant on signing an anchor compared to a DM or ball-winning midfield player is because that tactic is working so well, I want to sign within the tactic. And we get this guy, Lucas Gorner Doaf. He's a player that I usually sign all the time. I had a bit of a break from signing him because he was in every rebuild. He now comes in from Barcelona, where he's been playing quite well to be fair, but not guaranteed 100% first team football when it comes to the important games in the cups and stuff. He was on the transfer list, so I'm basing it off that knowledge, of course, former Salzburg man. Now he comes in, like I said, 36 million, very, very good return. A player that's worth closer to 60 million than 30. Very well rounded, really suits the anchor role well. And like I said, very rarely I'll sign for a tactic. I'm open to change the tactic. This occasion, I'm not changing it. Players need to suit it, which is what Hector Fort does. Now, we have got two very, very good wing-backs on the left and the right-hand side. Christiansen has been really good from day one, but he is getting older now. Hector Fort is 23, so significantly younger. He comes in for 28 million, 7 assists, drops a 7.12 average rating. And again, when a player's been playing for Barcelona for 6 years, you know he's got something about him. Now, what I really like about him is he can also play centre-back. Is he the best at centre-back? No. Is it good for injuries? Yes. Because over like a 50-game season, you don't know how many players are going to get injured. And someone like Hector Fort can step in there. Now, obviously, it's quite clear where he's best at. That is going to be right-back. But, like I said, the option is good to have. And that finalises our last window. And like I said, I think all these windows we've had have been very good. We go to the first one that we done. All of these players, so we look at Lucien, obviously he coming in midfield. He has played over 100 games for the club now. Ansu Fati was really, really good. Carlos Dominguez was definitely a bit of a flop. I am going to say it, as I actually think we forgot to even talk about Batshuayi going to Southampton, who is now actually unemployed. Very interesting to see. The third window, very, very strong. I think Harvey Elliott was a great signing. Reed was a very, very good signing. Tyler Dibbling, how well has he done in this season? Very, very well, so he's paid out big time. This centre-back in Costas has been really, really strong as well. So I don't think, apart from one player, the entire rebuild, we've done really, really well, so I'm expecting pretty big things for the last season. And we are going to be back on top in the Bundesliga, and back on top by close to 10 points as an advantage over Bayern. And I think that is now 5 seasons in a row. Jonathan has stepped in and become the top goal scorer, so Hugo has been replaced quite easily. Harvey Elliott, your top assister. Dennis, your third most clean sheets behind Naul and also Cabell. Obviously, Cabell's going to be the best goalkeeper for quite some years. He's very good in the Bundesliga. Reed is going to be in there with the average rating, as is Jonathan, of course, top goal scorer. But I think if this guy's anything like he is in the game, Frankfurt fans have got nothing to worry about in real life when it comes to replacing Hugo Ekitike, because he's been incredible. The Pokal, we are playing 1860 München, which is a bit of a blessing, to be honest, and a bit of a bye. A final that if we lost, we may as well disown the club, because we should be beating these quite easily, and we actually do. It's a good little set piece here, actually. Very well thought of, and Tyler Dibbling, yeah, he's pretty decent. The German Super Cup was a blockbuster. We only win by 1 goal, and RB Leipzig push us to the absolute limits. But that is going to be 4 times back-to-back. Sadly, we don't win the quadruple. We're runners-up in the Champions League, as Liverpool are too strong on the day. Now, we did get past some pretty big teams. Inter Milan, 5-2. Quarter-finals, Tottenham, 3-1. Round of 16 on penalties over City. That is now 3 times we've knocked out Man City in the Champions League without playing them in any stage in the final. So a very, very, very interesting time. But we have won our Champions League, which is really impressive. We've won 4 Bundesliga titles, which is very strong. 3 Pokals, very strong. 4 German Super Cups. And I think that is safe for me to say Frankfurt rebuilt into a very, very strong team, where now they've got more trophies in their cabinet than they could ever dream of. The Champions League is the standout one, I'm aware. The Pokals, the Bundesliga titles, super important. Very, very, very good rebuild. And the team we've left, we've signed some fantastic players in here. And what we've done really well is also keep some of the players they've signed in real life. So it's not just changing the entire team, you know. There's still a lot of players in the squad, you know, even if they're not necessarily starting players. Even Wahi's come alive, 23-2 in his last season. Jonathan, 34-7. You've got this man here, 12-14. 35-year-old Tunisian player has piped up. This is the great thing about this squad that I've left. Even the original players are chipping in, and the signings that we made have all worked really, really well. So I would recommend you go over to the Patreon, grab the save file, grab the tactic, go and have some fun, because even if there's a position you don't like, you've got a budget of 123 million and a debt-free club. So it's going to be endless fun for you guys back home. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you're going to do with the team. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.